Hello, dear friends. I come again with another video, and today we are going to look at a toxic parenting. We are going to look at a toxic home. Toxicity has to do with poisonous. When something is toxic, that thing is poisonous. A toxic home is poisonous in the upbringing of the child. Toxic parenting is negative to raising children. Now, we will look at some critical elements you will see in a toxic home, in toxic parenting. Number one is the element of manipulation and control. Manipulation and control. Toxic parents manipulate in order to control their children onto themselves. You see, so you have manipulation, and when you talk about manipulation, lies coming, playing the guilt card, lies coming in order to gaslight people, gaslight children, and confuse them and take total control of their lives. Manipulation and control. Now, let me give you a typical example of something that happened to a man some years back. This man left the country, he got a job, an opportunity in another country. So he traveled out in agreement with the wife. He traveled out, he left the shores of this country for a better economic condition. And while there, he got a job and he was constantly available financially. He was available, though physically absent. What they needed for the upkeep of the house rent, feeding of children, all the bills in the school, academic bills, this man was sending. This man was always there financially. But the wife, being a manipulating wife, told the children that she was the one doing everything. Could you imagine that? She told them, she manipulated them to believe that their father never cared, that their father left them all to their mother alone. So this woman manipulated the children and took control of them and told them that their father neglected them. And they believed her. Being children, they had to believe. So manipulation in order to take control is one of the elements you see in a very toxic home, in a toxic parenting. Now, another point, another element you see is the element of excessive control. Excessive control. Whenever anything is excessive, it becomes negative. It becomes negative. Excessive control. You see, you see that the parents that try to manipulate and take control of their children, they apply so many ways in order to be able to do that. So in toxic homes, in toxic parenting, you see excessive control. You see excessive criticism. Excessive criticism. And this criticism is all about pointing at the negatives of the child or the children. In toxic homes, there's excessive criticism. And it's all about pointing at the negative, pointing at the flaws and mistakes of the children, and not highlighting the positives, not highlighting the areas that they are making progress. This is toxic parenting. You don't focus on criticisms. You don't focus on only the negatives. Celebrate the incremental progress being recorded in the life of your children, maybe molding the character or in the academic well-being of your children. The incremental progress that is going on in their life, highlight it, praise them, compliment them, put aside excessive criticism, it is poisonous. It is toxic to the well-being of the children. Now, another point to highlight, another point to note in a toxic home, in toxic parenting, is the area of not keeping boundaries, not knowing that when children are growing up, especially when they are getting to the teen, the adolescent age, they need some level of privacy. They need some level of privacy. But authoritarian parents will want to intrude into every aspect of the life of their children. The helicopter parents would want to know everything going on in the lives of their children. You see, they need some privacy. Let me give you an example. I discovered at a point that my son was having a mini bank, a piggy bank in the house. When we give him money to get some snacks while going to school, he won't spend everything. He would get some things for himself and keep the balance and bring it home. And when he comes home, he will put it in the mini bank he had in the house. You see, he put it there in the box, savings box. And the money was growing. The money was growing. There was a day that I and the mother, we were tempted. I think one of us was tempted to take money from his savings and maybe tell him after. I had to tell my partner, my wife, that we don't have to do that because this is the privacy of the young man, and that privacy needed to be maintained. That before you take anything from his money, you needed to tell him, because that was his privacy. That money was his. But I know authoritarian parents will feel that they have control. They own the child and everything he has. They will break into that privacy and do what they want to do. This is toxic environment. It's toxic parenting. You see, so toxic parenting has a lot of consequences. There are consequences. Number one is that it affects the child's self-esteem. It affects the child's self-confidence. You raise a child that is growing up in anxiety because the home is very toxic, because the parenting is very toxic. The self-esteem is affected because there's excessive criticism. He feels he's not good enough. She feels she's not good enough because only his negatives, only the mistakes are being highlighted. The positives are hardly mentioned. So take note of this. Another point, another consequence is you raise a child with emotional imbalance, fear, depression. You see, you raise a child that in future might not be able to keep intimacy and relationships. I have an example of a man. He's now a man. He's now a man. Now, but when he was growing up, the mother was very toxic. The mother bullied the father of this young man, and he grew up in that toxic environment of his mother bullying the dad. And when he became a man and got married, his life was under control. He married the first woman, he couldn't keep the marriage. He married the second, he could not keep it. He married the third, married the fourth. He could not keep any of the. In fact, one of those women that he married, the mother had to come to his house, break into his house, and send the woman away. Could you imagine that? Because she did not like that particular lady. So this is what you have. You have a man that is low in self-confidence. You have a man that is emotionally troubled, emotionally disturbed, cannot keep relationships because that man that lady, that young man grew up in a toxic home, under toxic parenting. So this is another area of disadvantage of toxic parenting. When children grow up in a conducive environment, they become better people. They become mentally balanced. They become emotionally balanced. They could keep relationships in the future because the environment they grew up was very, very enabling for them. The environment molded them. There was no toxicity. You see, their self esteem will be intact, their self confidence will be intact. Dear parents, how conducive is your home in raising children? What are you modeling to those your children? It is time to take stock. It's time to look around. It's time to assess whether we are raising children in a conducive environment or in a very toxic environment. Thank you, my dear friend, for coming with me this far in this video. I want to believe that the video, you would have picked one or two points through this video. And also, I want to encourage you to always like the video. Please like the video, and you could share the video and talk about it. And let's hope to grow this channel. It is Walter's Family News. We talk about parenting. We talk about how to improve the homes, improve the children, and then make them better the way God has ordained parenting and family to be. Once again, thank you very much for coming with me this far. See you again in another video.